Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today, Elon Musk is building moon cannons while XAI laps the legacy giants. Ad agencies are on death watch thanks to a single shampoo commercial, and we're asking the big question, are you a worker or are you just an orchestrator now?
It is a wild day on the wire. The signal-to-noise ratio is completely off the charts.
It really is. And we have to start with the lead, which is, it's undoubtedly the massive all-hands update from XAI. This dropped yesterday, and honestly, the scale of this thing is hard to wrap your head around.
Right.
We're looking at a breakdown video at Stephen Margarian that really puts it into perspective.
And for anyone thinking this was just, a standard corporate PowerPoint presentation, think again. This was a flex, a massive flex designed to scare the living daylights out of San Francisco.
They were talking about the Colossus supercluster down in Memphis. We are talking running over 100,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs.
100,000.
And the kicker, they built this system in just 122 days.
That is the number that just jumps out at me, 122 days. To put that in context, you have to understand the physical constraints here. Usually, just getting the power permits for a cluster this size, we're talking roughly 150 megawatts, that can take 18 months.
18 months just for the paperwork.
Yeah, and then you have the cooling. H100s run incredibly hot. You need massive liquid cooling infrastructure just to keep the silicon from melting.
So they didn't just plug in computers, they effectively built a power plant and a giant radiator system.
Exactly. Musk bypassed all the standard grid delays. He brought in mobile turbines, leveraged existing industrial infrastructure. It's a brute force approach that Google or Microsoft, with their endless committees and risk assessments, they just can't replicate that right now.
It brings up that classic founder mode debate we keep hearing about. There was this fascinating clip from Nick Krispetane featuring Nikita Beer.
Ah, Nikita.
Now, he's the head of product at X, and he's been around the block, sold apps to Meta, sold apps to Discord.
He's seen the inside of the machine. He knows how the sausage is made at the legacy giants.
He has. And he explicitly contrasts Musk's style with, the executives at those other places. He says he has never seen an executive with that much responsibility who is that deep in the code.
And that is the double-edged sword, isn't it? On one hand, you get the Colossus cluster built in 122 days because the CEO is likely sleeping on the floor of the server room.
Right.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, does this scale?
That's the question. Is this sustainable growth, or is it just burn rate madness relying on a single point of failure?
Well, look at the analysis from AdXFreeze on this. They posted a clip where Musk calls XAI a toddler. The company is only 2.5 years old.
A toddler.
But the comparison is the key. You have this toddler going up against incumbents like Google, even OpenAI, that are 5, 10, 20 years old. And the argument here is all about speed versus institutional bloat.
So XAI is beating these 20-year-old companies on key benchmarks, despite having, a fraction of the headcount?
A tiny fraction. It's effectively a stress test for the entire Silicon Valley management philosophy.
If XAI wins with a skeleton crew and a CEO sleeping on the floor, what does that say about the 50,000 middle managers at Google?
It says they're overhead. And that is a terrifying thought for the Bay Area economy.
Speaking of terrifying thoughts, or maybe exciting ones, depending on your risk tolerance, we have to talk about the moon.
I knew we were going there. The mass driver.
We have to.
Right.
At Brian Rummel dropped a thread about this. This isn't just sci-fi. This is apparently part of the roadmap.
The roadmap.
The plan is to launch AI satellites from the moon to save energy.
This is a deep cut from physics history. At Brian Rummel mentions working with Gerard K. O'Neill back at Princeton in 1977.
Wow.
The concept is basically using an electromagnetic launcher, a mass driver, to shoot payloads into orbit without using chemical rockets.
Okay, mass driver. This sounds like a weapon from a video game. Break it down for me. How does this actually work?
Think of it like a maglev train, but instead of carrying passengers, it's carrying a satellite. And instead of stopping at a station, the track just points up at the end. Because the moon has no atmosphere and only 1/6 of Earth's gravity, you don't need a massive explosion to escape.
You just slide it fast enough along the rail and let go.
Precisely. On Earth, the air resistance would just burn the payload up instantly at those speeds.
Right.
On the moon, it's a vacuum. You use electricity, solar power, which is abundant there, to just flick satellites into orbit. It solves that whole rocket equation problem where you need fuel to lift the fuel.
It sounds elegant, and I have to be the skeptic here.
Here comes the wet blanket.
It just sounds like the ultimate distraction. We are dealing with AI regulation, copyright lawsuits, energy crises on Earth.
And the solution is a lunar railgun. It screams vaporware to me.
It does.
Who pays for the lunar infrastructure to build the gun in the first place?
That is the valid critique. It's a huge chicken and egg problem that costs trillions. You need a massive industrial base on the moon before you can build the driver.
If you look at the XAI Colossus cluster, maybe Musk is just crazy enough to try it.
Maybe the toddler pays for it with X payments. Who knows? But let's bring it back down to earth, specifically to the economy. Because if XAI is building the infrastructure, the question is, what are we humans actually going to do?
The agentic economy. This is the shift from chatbot to worker.
That's the buzzword. And we have a terrifyingly impressive demo from AdZyorg. They released GLM-5. This isn't just write me a poem.
No.
This is a long task agent. They showed a single AI agent spending 24 hours autonomously building a Game Boy Advance emulator.
And the specific metrics there are wild. Over 700 tool calls, 0 human intervention.
It didn't get stuck.
That's the breakthrough.
Yeah.
Usually agents get into a loop or they lose context after a few steps. They hallucinate, they forget the goal. This thing held the thread for 24 hours straight.
So we're moving past the assistance era into the replacement era.
It certainly feels that way.
And if that wasn't enough to make junior developers sweat, Daniel launched something called Shipper. He used Claude Opus 4.6 to build and publish iOS apps.
What was the cost?
17 cents.
17 cents.
And under 5 minutes to go from idea to ready for the App Store.
Okay, let's unpack this. If the cost of building software drops to 17 cents, the economic value of writing code is racing towards 0.
But the pushback from Daniel and a lot of the people in the replies is that it's just a wrapper. They say, oh, it's just wrapping Claude. It's not new tech.
Doesn't matter if it's a wrapper?
Well, I have to push back on that a bit. If it's just a wrapper, meaning it's just a pretty interface on top of Claude, doesn't that mean anyone can clone it tomorrow? Is there any moat?
See, that's the venture capital objection, right?
Yeah.
Where is the IP? But look at the user behavior. People don't care if the engine is proprietary. They care that they went from idea to App Store in 5 minutes for 17 cents.
So the value isn't the code. The value is the friction reduction.
Bingo. The moat is the user experience. If I can build a tool that lets a non-coder build an empire, I win. The wrapper insult is just engineers being salty that their barrier to entry is evaporating.
So if I can replace a junior dev who costs $80,000 a year with a 17-cent wrapper.
The market doesn't care about the architecture. It cares about the output.
This connects perfectly to what AdRazorX was saying.
Yeah.
They quoted Sam Altman on this shift from execution to orchestration.
That is the thesis of the year. The idea is that doing the work, writing the syntax, moving the pixels, that's over. Humans become managers of bot fleets.
You're not a writer, you're an editor of AI output. You're not a coder, you're an architect of AI agents.
Precisely.
But what happens at the entry level? How do you become a senior architect if you never did the grunt work?
That is the question nobody has an answer for yet. We are effectively sawing off the bottom rungs of the career ladder.
So if the AI does the junior work better and cheaper, how do humans get the experience to become the seniors who check the AI's work?
It's a huge problem.
Well, if you think coders are in trouble, let's look at Hollywood and Madison Avenue, because the creative crash is looking imminent.
It's the Seedance news.
Seedance 2.0. At Margadala posted this clip. It's a shampoo commercial. Hyper-realistic. The hair, the lighting, the slow-motion water droplets.
It looked incredible.
And the prompt was just a high-quality shampoo ad for women.
And his quote was brutal. 90% of ad agencies will be out of business by the end of the year.
Is that hyperbole?
A little bit, sure. But look at the economics. A shampoo commercial like that usually costs, what, 200 grand?
At least.
Yeah.
A full crew, director, casting, post-production.
Right. If you can generate it for $10 on a server farm, the margin collapse is inevitable.
And it's not just static ads.
Yeah.
At Equilink is showing off Video Q3 integration, cinematic video in minutes.
But here's where it gets really interesting and legally dangerous. At Trunkfy Fan posted a generated video of Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt.
It looks shockingly real.
It did. And his take is spot on. Tom Cruise isn't going to pass out. His lawyers are going to sue everyone. We are entering a legal hellscape.
The technology is just moving so much faster than the law.
Can you copyright a likeness effectively when anyone in a bedroom can generate a 4K movie starring you? I don't think so.
It feels like a race to the bottom. If everyone can make a Super Bowl ad, does a Super Bowl ad mean anything anymore?
That's the scarcity principle. When content volume goes to infinity, the value of any single piece of content goes to 0. The only thing that retains value is the brand, the verified truth that this actually came from Tom Cruise.
Speaking of truth versus fiction, let's talk about real estate. At Mountain Boremal posted about virtual staging using World Labs.
This is a micro trend that signals a macro problem.
So the tech takes a photo of an empty room and 3D models it with furniture. It looks great. It saves money pennies instead of $20 a photo.
But it introduces hallucinated reality.
Yeah.
You're selling a house that doesn't exist in that state. And unlike a physical staging where you can see the furniture is fake, this changes the lighting, the texture, the whole vibe.
It's becoming impossible to know what you're actually buying.
It's the theme of the day, isn't it? Everything is cheaper, faster, and faker.
Precisely. We are optimizing for speed and cost at the expense of reality.
So while the startups are sprinting and breaking things, what is big tech doing?
We checked in on Google.
The sleeping giant.
That official Agentic showed off the new Google AI Studio updates, a homepage redesign, and something called vibe coding.
Vibe coding.
I know, Google dropped something called vibe coding. Now, to me, this sounds like marketing fluff. Is there actual utility here, or are they just trying to sound cool for Gen Z?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, technically, it's about context retention, the AI understanding the vibe or the intent of your project without you spelling out every single parameter.
So it's intuition.
It's simulated intuition. But compare that to xAI building a physical supercomputer or a moon cannon.
Yeah.
Google is polishing the interface. Musk is rebuilding the engine. It just highlights the difference in their current DNA. One is managing a stock price. The other is managing a mission to Mars.
And the rot in the Google Foundation is showing. At Google Ads got absolutely roasted in their own comments.
Yeah.
There was a reply from at GVG Design that was just brutal.
The hijacker comment.
Yeah. This user is begging for help on a support case. It's been open since January. They're stuck in extended workforce hell.
This is the service paradox I talk about. We have AI that can generate a video in seconds, but a human being cannot get customer support for weeks from one of the richest companies on Earth.
It seems like as the AI gets smarter, the organizational structure gets dumber.
Or just more detached. They're automating everything, including the things that probably shouldn't be automated, like empathetic customer service.
Meanwhile, in the crypto world, speed is the only metric that matters.
Yeah.
Ryan Zurich from Layer Zero posted about Jolt Pro.
This was impressive technical work, verifying 30 million Ethereum transactions in 30 seconds.
That is absurdly fast.
It is. But again, you have to look at the architecture. It's a custom cluster. And the skeptics and the replies are asking the right question. Is this decentralized?
Right.
Or did you just build a very fast central server? If it's the latter, it's not really crypto, is it? It's just a database.
It's a constant tension. Speed versus decentralization.
Yeah.
Speed versus stability.
Speed wins right now. That is the vibe of 2026.
We've spent the last 15 minutes talking about speed. Speed of code, speed of rendering, speed of launching satellites. But there is one area where our processing power hasn't quite caught up to the bugs in the system.
You're talking about biology.
I am. While we're discussing digital immortality and AI avatars, we had a harsh reality check on the timeline today regarding James Van Der Beek.
Yeah, this was a tough one.
Colin Rugg reported that actor James Van Der Beek has passed away at 48.
A lot of us grew up watching him. Dawson's Creek, Varsity Blues. 48 is just incredibly young.
It is. And the cause was colorectal cancer.
This is where we need to look at the data, because this isn't an isolated tragedy. The stats cited in the discussion are alarming. Colorectal cancer is rising sharply in adults under 55.
It's now 1 in 5 diagnoses.
1 in 5. That is a staggering statistic.
Why is this happening?
The science is still out on the specific why, whether it's diet, microplastics, environmental factors. But in a show where we talk about digital immortality and AI avatars, this is a somber reminder.
Yeah.
Biological fragility is still the ultimate constraint.
It really puts the moon cannon stuff in perspective. We're trying to conquer space, but our own biology is still a mystery in many ways.
Absolutely. If there is one takeaway from that segment, it is get screened. The tech can't save you if you don't catch it. The AI can write your code, but it can't fix your cells yet.
Well said. So what does this all mean? We've got xAI sprinting, ad agencies collapsing, and the definition of work changing right before our eyes.
It feels like we are at a tipping point.
We are.
And based on that Seedance news and the shipper tool, I have a prediction.
Let's hear it.
Within 6 months, we are going to see the first zero-employee unicorn file for incorporation.
Wow.
I'm talking about a one-person company doing $100 million in revenue using nothing but a fleet of agents. No HR, no middle management, just one orchestrator and 1,000 bots.
That is both a terrifying and exciting thought. We'll be watching for it. That's the vibe. We'll see you on the wire.